All right, this is take two. We're trying again. So hopefully she gets added on. Let's see. No viewers to invite yet. Let's see. Okay, there you are. Let's try this. All right. Oh my
Hey.
God. It's a small box, but at least it works. Because I didn't really want to have this conversation solo. It's so much more fun when there's another person.
Yay. All right, let me
Cool.
see if I can set this down. There.
So, for those of you who don't know, last week we did a conversation about relationships, friends with benefits, and orgasms. I don't know that we will be talking about orgasms tonight, but you never know what comes up in conversation. So,
Hey, I like orgasms.
so but tonight we wanted to talk about the 5 questions to ask on a first date. And this is forewarning. Some of these questions may not be questions that you think are questions you ask on a first date, but I kind of just want to cut through all the bullshit because I don't have time to play to do this dance with somebody when they're not really wanting to be a serious partner, I guess.
Yeah, I just said that that on Facebook. I was like, yeah, I don't got time for that shit. Seriously, I don't have time for that shit. Don't waste my time. Like, and I guess don't waste my own time by figuring out right away, right off the bat, are you someone that I could potentially start dating in a serious way? Like, if it's not if it's not gonna line up, you might as well find out right away if it's not gonna line up.
Right.
So you might, have a list ready of things that you're gonna ask on the first date.
And it doesn't have to be awkward. I think that there's like this sort of awkwardness about around people being vulnerable and really getting to the truth of what it is they're looking for in another human being. And I there's so many things online that just they just are all about playing games as far as I can tell. This like, ooh, how to like figure out the male psyche and all these different things. And it's just like I want to be with somebody who's evolved to the point where they're not having to play any of those games.
Exactly. Emotional maturity, check. Yes. Um,
So what is one of your what is one of your top 5 questions?
well, and yeah, I mean, in order to not be in a place that you're playing games, guessing, I think the first question should be, are you single? Are you single? And if so, how long have you been single? Like, so,
I mean,
I
you
don't
never do
know.
quite know, do you, if somebody's actually single or not?
You don't know. Like, are they just like thinking about maybe checking a single box someday, but they just want to play the field? I don't know. Maybe they just want to cheat on their person, or uh, maybe they're fucking poly and they want you to be in their harem. No, thank you.
You know what? Nothing against anyone who lives that lifestyle. It's a preference that for what you
It's totally
resonates
a
with you
preference. It's
personally.
just not for me, and I need to know that right away. So
Right.
I think that's my first question. Are you single? How long have you been single? It's kind of like one and then 1A, because knowing how long someone's been single tells you how long they've had to process what happened in the relationship, and they can figure out, what they need to improve on, what they don't like, what they want, what they need. Yeah. So that's
Well,
my
I
first
guess
question.
I had told you this earlier, but I'll just tell everyone else. So this guy that I went out with the other night, who I was super attracted to, we had a very sexual chemistry going on, but he had told me, wow, he didn't tell me before we met. He told me when I was sitting next to him that he had been on 200 first dates.
Whoa, we should make a movie called that, 200
Right?
First Dates.
200 first
Like,
dates. And so that should have
What?
been like that probably should have been like
That,
a big red flag for me right there. And you know
that's
what?
definitely a red flag.
And another friend told me though, she's like, because of course this guy was like really good looking. And I just got to put this out there. I don't think it's too much for me to ask to find somebody who has all of the mental, physical, and spiritual qualities that I'm looking for. I don't think I should have to lower my standards for that. I think the universe has all of the things that you're looking for out there for you in some human being. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that probably, if I had been talking to him and he hadn't been, super good looking, would that, if I had asked, if he had told me that he'd been on 200 first dates, would, would that have still been like, oh, okay?
Well, yeah, I think that would be a hard thing to find out, but that goes under one of the questions that you and I agreed on, which is a really large over category. Um, what about your values? You
What are
know,
your core values? Yeah.
yeah, do you value someone that just kind of like tosses women aside and like, one date toss, one date like Kleenex, or do you want someone that maybe is willing to explore someone a little bit more deeply? Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Be the love you're looking for and watch the reflection join you in union. Thanks, Deanna. You deserve it all. Woohoo!
Yeah, and
You,
so what are some of the core values that you're looking for in another human being to share with you?
some of my core values that I've unfortunately had to figure out along the way, spent a little bit too much time with someone over the summer that if I had maybe thought about it a little more deeply, it would
Well,
have been
may I
clearer.
interject? I don't think there are any mistakes here. So whatever that was, it was there to help you as the contrast to what
Absolutely.
it is that you don't want in your life.
Absolutely. And personal growth. I mean, when you go through something that is not right, it makes you look inward and for me, I just found a huge amount of strength. There was like this huge pot of gold inside that I was ignoring. So one of my first things that would be part of my values is, do you drink or do a lot of drugs and do you like to party? That's just not part of my core values. I have kids. My life is heading in a different direction. There's time for having fun, of course, but as a nightly thing, weekly thing, that's my biggest one right there. What's one of yours?
Well, here, I'll address that one second, but I have a friend that he's a guy and he says, honestly, though, the first date should be a time to have fun and vibe with each other. It's not a time for an interview
Ooh,
process.
I don't
And
know.
see, I don't know. We talked about this, and in all honesty, I say, excuse my French, fuck it. I think you should go to the real questions first because there's a lot of people out there, and I don't, unless you're like in your 20s and you're just trying to looking to have fun with somebody, I'm not looking for that. I'm such a busy person. I know specifically what I'm looking for, so I don't. I don't need to beat around the bush. And I honestly don't think it has to be awkward to have a real serious, vulnerable conversation about what it is you're looking for.
No, it can fit in. I mean, you don't have to sit here with your list like, so, do you drink? How often? No, I mean, you can kind of get a feel for someone right off the bat. Like, uh, yeah, you do want to have fun with someone, but you want to know if you want to go on that second date or if you just want to go out and hang out as friends next time. So I can understand both ways that you do just want to have fun and be relaxed, and it doesn't have to be like an interview. Like, I don't know. Oh, I like to stay home and take care of my kids. What do you do during the week? That's a normal question.
Right?
Um, Another one for me is physical health. I know this is important to you, Jessica, but is physical health, mental health.
Physical maintenance. Yeah.
Re-
Somebody who actually
yeah.
cares about the vessel that they are walking around
Yeah,
in.
exactly. That's not gonna fly for me. Like, I'm sure you can eventually take care of your body. Eventually, you might eat well, but I'm not here to teach someone how to take care of their body and eat well. Like, I need you to be like chugging along with me at the same speed, and we'll just chug along together because I can't get you up to speed. I've learned that you can't teach someone how to eat healthy or you teach someone how to exercise. And
I mean, you can show them, but at some point, it's like you can, what is it? You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. And the point at which you do try to make somebody do something, or you're constantly efforting your way with this person in this particular area, then it's like you totally lose yourself. And then you're not even doing those things that you love anymore. At least
Right.
that's what I
Right.
found.
Right. Yeah, because you're taking all of your energy and effort to try to bring this person up to speed. Deanna Larkins, one of our favorite owners of Emerge, she says, tell them exactly what you're looking for. And if they are like, nope, then be like, okay, great, peace. We can just be friends then. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I like to
And
say, next, next.
yeah. And ultimately, and so actually, this is what it's interesting to me. So this guy that I went on this date with, I had this dinner with him that was sort of like quick and rapid. He's a pharmacist, so and who knows, maybe he'll watch this later. I don't think he's on Facebook, but
And he was super hot.
super attractive. Um, we had dinner together and we were talking about, I'm very much into wellness and holistic wellness and not visiting doctors and things like that. Meanwhile, he's a pharmacist, so he's like kind of in a whole different realm. And he does not really into
Right.
plant medicine, so he's not like his world hasn't really been opened up to a lot of things yet. So he's kind of one of those people who thinks he knows things, and that's just how it is. So initially, I tried to just sort of like be funny and light with it and all this stuff. Long story short, we ended up having this like really hot makeout session and then spoke about it a little bit the next day. And then now, since then, he's completely ghosted me. And
What?
I don't I don't really get it
Next.
because at the very least just have the respect to tell me you're not into me. You like it doesn't have to be some huge upset, and I don't even know. I mean, he never gave the indication that he wasn't into me, and quite frankly, I really don't care. I'm just more curious about the disrespect from human to human of like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
I don't think I want to talk to you anymore," or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
like, oh, well, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, great. Now I know. Um,
Right.
yeah, another one, which I think actually should be like the very first question, but it's kind of funny and it falls under the values category is, do you have a job? Do you work? Like, if crickets are chirping, I'm probably gonna like put my purse on and like be like, I'm gonna go home now. No, I'm kidding.
Right?
Like, I think that is like one of the most important things. If they're a hard worker and they know how to maintain a job, like come on. I don't have
Yeah.
time for someone that needs me to pay for everything and
Yeah,
right?
been there, done that almost, yeah,
Done
twice
that.
actually.
Yeah. No,
And
no
this
thank you.
isn't, and once again, this is not an attack on men. I find so many guys like will think that because we're talking about our experience in relationships that we somehow view men as less than, and that's not the case. I do believe there are a lot of amazing men out there, and I am calling them in.
Me too. We are doing it together. What's another thing on your list?
Well, so another big thing was what is it that you are specifically looking for in a relationship? Like what qualities are you looking for in a relationship? Are you looking for a fling? Are you looking for a partner?
Mhm.
And what does a relationship mean, to you? What does having a healthy relationship mean? I think is another, segue into that.
Yeah, so like what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like here's the deal. I'm a woman. I like men. You're a man. I'm assuming you like women. Do you like women? I don't know. That could be another question too. Maybe you're not. I don't know. Like, let's just get it off the fucking table right here. Are you monogamous? Are you polyamorous? Are you single? Do you do you want something that lasts one night or do you want something that's gonna last a lifetime? Like what kind of status are you?
Do you want to see
Totally.
me again after this date?
Right. Or do you just want to get my pants off and that's like
Right.
all you're thinking about?
Oh, and the other one too. So I was reading a bunch of things about what are good questions to ask on a first date, and it was saying don't ask about kids, and I totally disagree with that. I think that if you really want to get down to whether or not this person is a potential partner, you need to know if they
Yeah.
have kids, if they want to have kids,
Hmm.
like, and not just that. For me, it's very important, how do you treat children? Like, what is your philosophy on actually
Hmm.
caring for and nurturing this being?
You won't even get to that conversation if they're like, I don't know. If they don't know, chances are next. You haven't thought about it by now? Next. Um, yeah, the values, that's another value. Like how they are going to treat children. Do they believe in military punishment? That kind of, is it going to jive with you?
Well, yeah, for me, a big thing is like, are you gonna want to circumcise my child if we have a boy?
Right.
That's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. 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 Me too.
I don't believe in, cutting people's body parts off. I don't believe in raising your hand to another being. So there's lots of things for me specifically. So as I'm thinking of all this, I'm like, holy shit, this person is gonna have to be like high up on their conscious level.
Mine keeps getting higher. Uh, okay, so that was one I have on there too. Do you want kids or do you have kids? Because I've got kids, and if this person wants a family, like, hello, I don't want to have to have more children with someone in order to have a healthy relationship. Like, you know, I've been there, done that. I've had my kids, and I mean, if it were to like be like, oh, oops, it happened, or like somewhere down the road we wanted to have one love child, maybe, yeah, but I don't want it to have to be something I have to do. I have a good one. Um, how long have you been single? And you said, why are you single? Which I
Well,
think is even better.
well, actually, in the article that I was reading, I told you that it said to ask that it said to ask if or why you are single, but it actually I went back and read it. It says question to not ask, why are you single? It says that it's too like demeaning in the sense that it implies that there's something wrong with being single, but
Well,
I don't
mm,
really think it needs to be viewed that way. I think it's just a curiosity of like, could you
mhm,
tell me about your past relationships? Because
mhm.
as much as I don't, well, I don't know. So maybe I don't know. Now I'm catching myself because I don't think the past necessarily has a lot of relevance to
Right,
your future relationship, but there are patterns, and it's also good to hear somebody's response about where they've been and what they've learned from it to know if it is a
right,
pattern that is going to be repeated.
right. Like, where are they
Like, oh,
now?
we talked about like taking responsibility, like taking full responsibility for everything in your life is a major core value for me. So if this person can't
Mhm.
own everything
Integrity.
about their past relationships, then there's going to be a challenge.
Right. But I think it also depends on how good of friends they are too with their ex. Like if they're still like they still talk to each other and there's no hard feelings, um, that really shows a lot of maturity. But but if they're still hanging out together and they're still doing their thing together all the time, like hanging out every day, like, well, wait a minute, are you guys actually done? Or are you just like taking a break and like testing the water? That's never gonna work. N- Not gonna work, dude.
Uh,
Seriously, they are not done. They're gonna end up just like crushing everyone that they're in contact with. So it's kind of like, how much is the cord severed with this ex person? Is it still dangling there? You guys are like hoping that it might come back together? Because I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be a rebound. And the
right.
only way to know someone.
So David here says he would not like to be asked on a first date how long he's been single. So,
Huh.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Some of the questions that we're gonna want to ask are probably gonna be questions that certain guys aren't gonna like, but I don't know. I think that for me is like what kind of cuts to the chase real quick is I don't really want to. I don't know.
I don't want to
I feel
guess. I don't want to
I,
guess.
I feel like the universe is gonna bring into your vortex somebody who actually is going to look at those questions as like a beautiful exploration into who they are and who you are, so that you can actually really find out if we want to continue to hang out with each other and be authentic.
Right. So the person that is offended by your question, no offense, David, that wouldn't line up with me then. You know, if you're going to be offended by that question, I need to know. I'm done with the bullshit. You know, I'm done with the bullshitters, bullshit bullying.
I have my friend Lisa's on, and we need to have her on because she has, oh my God, she's super funny and she would have some amazing comments to make about dates and narcissists, and we
Yeah.
need to have a three-way conversation about narcissists. And you know what, this that also brings me back to, like, narcissists are not all men. We all have narcissistic tendencies. We all have codependent tendencies. So this isn't like an assault on the male race by any means.
hmm I was talking to a woman and she said that she was bisexual. And she's like, it's really tricky because whenever I'm around a girl, like I've got a woman, I gotta kind of like ask, like, hey, look, I'm into you. I think you're cute or whatever, like, and just to clear it right away, she says she needs to know, like, is this person gonna be a friend or is this person a potential lover? And
Right.
it's the same, I think, for, opposite sex relationships. Is this person a friend or a potential lover? And so I don't think there's really anything wrong with asking the questions that we're talking about right away.
No, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That made me think of something that I've experienced a couple times recently, where I met a guy, out, not in a romantic way, because I network a lot and I love meeting new people. But then I like to clarify and be like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm not looking for a romantic relationship. And instead of them taking it as like, okay, cool, yeah, let's just be friends, it's an immediately like they go in this defense mode, like I've
Mhm.
attacked them and I'm rejecting them or something.
Yeah, or you're being presumptuous.
Oh yes, presumptuous. That was
Yeah.
it.
Well, I guess being presumptuous is rude, but in this case, I
And
think
I don't
it's
I
only,
don't know that it's being presumptuous though. It's just really setting a boundary, because a lot of times I feel like if you hang out with a guy, there is that sort of like, ooh, I have a chance. And it makes me feel, excuse me, it
yeah.
doesn't make me feel, I feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable. And you know what, maybe that's my own thing to reflect on, but I feel uncomfortable if I'm hanging out with a guy and we can't just have this friendship energy, and I feel like there's this energy of like you're trying to get somewhere with me eventually.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. But okay, this is interesting, David. Thank you for commenting. Guys primarily care about what women look like. So stick with light topics on the first date. He will know in 5 minutes if he wants to see you again.
But
This is what
see,
I don't care about. I don't care about if you want to see me again. I care about if I want to see you again. Like that, flipping it around, that's taking power and putting it in your own hands.
yeah, I mean, I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not here to show up and, play the
I'm not
pleasing
doing a
game.
dance for
Like,
you.
am I pretty enough? Do I make like
Yeah,
conversation enough for
yeah.
you? Like
No.
that? No.
No. But good
Don't
point
have
though. I
time
mean,
for.
for a woman that primarily is trying to like get a guy or like, you know, snag one, like yeah, she's gonna play a game like that for a while. Then
Then
tell him
on
on the second date that you want to that you don't want to vaccinate your kids.
the Yeah, that is another one for me. I mean, you know
But what
what?
if it's the first date or the second date?
I don't think all these questions are necessarily even going to come up on the first date. Not like I'm going to be like, oh, do you believe in this, and
Right.
this? And I've got like this huge list of like deal breakers. It's just really the basics are like core values, like
Yeah.
trust and integrity are huge for me. If you can't be honest with yourself, then you can't be honest with me. And um, what was the other thing we talked about in terms of core values?
Um,
It's going on a blink right now. Somebody who has the ability to be empathetic and caring, somebody who has the ability to really be in their emotions, express their emotions, and also be present and hold space for your emotions is
Ooh, yeah. Matthew Schultze, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. The guy probably wouldn't be on a date with a lady unless he already found them attractive.
huge. I agree with that.
No, I agree with that. And likewise, I feel like I don't think I'd go on a date with someone unless I found them attractive. I might go out with someone that I didn't find attractive, but then it's probably on me to be kind enough to be like, look, you're a great friend, and I want to get to know you as a friend.
Let
Like
me
that,
put you in the
I feel like
friends
you should just say that shit. Like friend zone them right away if they're just a friend.
round.
Real. And then you don't even have to worry about any of these questions. We'll just have fun like friends.
Well, I know, and this goes back to like my whole dating story the other day. Is just like at the very least, dude, just like text me and tell me, hey, we could be friends, or I'm feeling a little bit intimidated by you, or I don't know, like anything, because I had basically sent him a message telling him like this is what I'm looking for in a relationship. I think I sent him some image of like tantric sex where like the energy
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like circling through from you to the person
Yeah.
to your partner. And I don't know if that was too much for him or not, but I never heard from him after that. So, so next.
Next. But see, yeah, so like if you would have played the game and like, oh, don't ask anything serious right away, how long would you have been, a month, 2 months? How long would you have been dragging this on, not knowing that he was not someone that is emotionally mature enough to even be in your presence, really?
Right. No, it's too true. And he said online dating is different for
Right.
sure. Yeah,
There
well,
you
this is
go.
this is really the first time. No, wait a minute. I take that back. I went on a date like 8, 9 years ago with I met this guy on Craigslist of all places. That should have been scarier than it was. But yeah, I don't know. It is different because you are just looking at pictures of somebody, trying to determine if you like them based off of their looks. Because for me, like somebody's voice is a huge deal to me.
Mm,
Like I want to know what they sound like. I want to know how like they carry themselves, and you don't ever really get to find that out until you meet somebody on a first date. So even if you thought that they looked physically attractive, there's just so many other factors that play into their physical attractiveness that could totally be taken away once you meet them in person.
right. Exactly. Like their what's the word? Their mannerisms can be a turnoff. Like, oh my God, they look so hot in a picture, but then like the way they carry themselves is just like, oh, I don't know why that turns me off, or that, I really like that. But I agree that I think online dating is totally different, that you could ask all these questions back and forth in a chat, and then you wouldn't even need to get to the first date if you were not pleased with the answers. Um, yeah, just I'm over doing the just by looks alone thing, you know. It doesn't get you very far.
Well, no, definitely not. And then that's why there's this big difference of just meeting somebody spontaneously. It's like there's that initial sort of like chemistry, so there isn't that kind of same weirdness you feel on a first date when it's an online thing where I feel like when you meet somebody spontaneously, then naturally in conversation, those things
Right.
come up as opposed to, okay, we've been texting back and forth. I think you're really hot, and we've asked a couple questions. Now we're going to meet up and hopefully, hopefully this pans out.
Logan Hart. Screening is one of the most
I think
important components
he's
of
one of the
dating.
most important components of dating.
Yeah. Don't
I
waste your
love
time
it.
on
He says, don't
stumps.
waste your time.
Yay!
No, Logan is awesome. I'm having him on sometime next week or the end of this week to talk about the masculine and the feminine. Maybe you can
I
come over and we
wonder,
can all have that conversation together. Actually, that would be fun.
yeah, that would be great. Because I see that there's a lot of men posting on this saying, well, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. Well, it's interesting that, we're women trying to coach and preach, ask these questions, and men are like, mm-mm. Well, so is there like a happy medium? Like, can I ask a few of these questions and then see where it goes? Uh,
It's
but
it's
in a
good to be,
grounded way, nothing too extreme.
yeah,
It's
he
good
said
to
it's good to
be,
be polarizing, but in a grounded way. Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I mean, yeah, the more you like learn about your own boundaries, and I mean even just like going to Bikram yoga, you know, just I don't you've been going longer than I have, but I'm on day like 11 I think now, and my boundaries are like so much stronger than they've ever been, and my ability to actually be like, this is what I truly want and this is
yes,
what I'm not okay with.
yeah. And the man that is going to be more suited for you is going to love that about you, actually. Like, wow, this woman is actually really powerful and assertive and knows what she wants. Like, that's something you don't really find in women too often, I think. Too many
Right?
times women are like, what should I do to make him love me? What should I do to make him like me?
Yeah, been
You
there,
know,
done that.
what should I wear? How do I act? It's like, don't worry about what you need to do to get him to like you. Worry about whether or not you like him. Here's another really good one too that isn't on this list. What kind of relationship does the man have with the women in his life? That is
That is huge,
huge.
huge.
If he and his mom never got along, or,
What is their relationship like now?
exactly.
Do they have a relationship?
I have a brunch with her every Tuesday. Like, okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah. We also don't maybe want a mama's boy. Like, like I still sleep in her. I still have a room in her house, and I call her every night.
Yeah, there is a fine line. Although I kind of want to make one of my questions like, which of the four core wounds of the ego are you healing from? Abuse, neglect, codependency, or loss?
Yeah, right. Yeah. What childhood trauma did you experience, and what have you done to overcome it? Start doing mental health screenings right off the bat. Yeah, pretty much all men would run screaming from that. But by like the third or fourth date, you should know like how mentally well this person is. Like, have you read any self-help books? Do you do work on yourself? Have you been to a therapist? Have you been to groups where you're discussing? Because we all have trauma and bullshit, you know? Nobody's exempt from it. We were all born and raised, so what kind of work are you doing on yourself? Are you
Right.
doing yoga and meditating, or that's a big
Are
deal to me
you,
right there.
well, and this kind of goes back to the whole, taking personal responsibility for everything in your life. Are you seeking the kingdom within, or do you view everything outside of you as the reason for why things are the way they are in your life, or why
Yeah,
certain things have happened to you?
right, right. That's the going back to the taking responsibility and the values.
And yeah, so Logan says boundaries need practice. I have learned to appreciate any opportunity to practice my boundaries, no matter how trivial. Also, is easier when you aren't emotionally invested in the person, so you can be totally authentic. uh, yeah, that's that's huge. Well, going back to the whole like, I mean, this last year was so like deeply enmeshed with this person, so in love with this person that even though a lot of my boundaries were being crossed, I wasn't really willing to look at that because of the deep emotions that I felt for this person.
Yeah, yeah, and that goes back to orgasm. We just get so bonded with those orgasms that we overlook those things. We
I
overlook
don't
those
know.
things.
Yeah, yeah, well, what is it? It's the shot of dopamine. Even if the orgasm isn't even that fantastic, it's just the shot of dopamine that's associated with that feel good feeling that you
Yep,
receive, when you think of that person or whatever, when you're with that
right.
person or you touch that person.
Yep, totally. Now you associate them with a good feeling, even if they're not that great. Ooh, yeah, this is
Yes.
a great one, Logan. The five love languages, they're so important, and it's so true that we each have a few things that we really associate with being loved and feeling loved and giving love. And not everyone has the same language. We all have different things that we feel loved from. Like one of them is appreciation, or showing gratitude. Like most men, they really love that one. Another one is gifts, like giving small gifts.
Right.
Um, let's see, another one is spending time together, and
And then there's acts of service, like doing something for somebody, like
uh,
chores around the house or stuff like
rubbing
that.
their back or something sweet. Yeah. And what's the fifth one?
So wait, you said acts of service, gifts. Did you say gifts?
Uh-huh.
And words of affirmation.
Right, gratitude
There's quality time, words of affirmation,
all the time.
gifts, um, acts of service, and physical touch.
Oh, physical touch, right. Yes. What's your favorite ones?
I think it's
All
probably
of the
work.
above.
I know. Do I have to have one?
All of them.
I mean, gifts are honestly aren't super high on my list. Words of affirmation are probably my strongest. But physical touch is honestly huge for me, but I don't like physical touch from other people unless it's my like person. You
Right.
know, then I do love physical touch because a lot of people will tell me like, "Oh, you're not really very touchy-feely." Like I'm not a big huggy type of person, but when I'm with like my significant other, I am very like touchy-feely with that person. So
Mm.
it really just
I like
depends, but
quality time. I love quality time and physical touch, probably those two things. Logan is his physical touch. Yeah, I think
I think
that
for a lot
that
of guys,
a
physical touch.
lot.
Although I don't know, that I did think at some point that this other person that I was with, that his love language was physical touch. But the more that I got to really know him, I feel like his biggest love language was words of affirmation, but he wasn't even really aware of that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
So,
men are really driven from kind words like that, like appreciation for taking out the trash or whatever, cliche thing. Um,
David says you girls are cute, shouldn't have a problem finding a good man. I don't think
oh,
I have. I don't think we'll have any problems
thank
either, and
you.
that's not really a concern of mine. It's more, I just
It's
really
really
wanted
sweet,
to
David.
make light of and share and get other people's feedback because I know a lot of people go through this whole dating scenario of trying to find a partner, and um, yeah, it should be fun because I know it can be frustrating for a lot of people, but it should be fun. And I think this is a conversation that we just wanted to have about really just cutting all the bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you and I are kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't have time to filter through all the people. And that's what we started off this whole conversation with, was like, I don't have time for that shit. You know, I don't have time. I don't want a fuck buddy. I don't have time for a fuck buddy. I don't even know if I necessarily want an intimate relationship right away. I'm kind of having fun being alone. I don't know,
Well,
and
you'll
then
you'll know when the time is right.
yeah, well, yeah, because then the person is gonna be like, damn, who's that person? And all of these things are gonna line up, and there's the time. That's right.
Right. Yeah, and so I don't know. For me personally, I don't even know if I'm gonna continue to look on this app because I'm not really looking. I'm not even actively on there looking for anything. I more just was like experimenting with it, and this guy came up and he was super attractive, and I thought, oh, okay, cool. And then we had this, hot makeout session, and then now there's nothing. So I don't think I'll be going back on to like see if I can find this next person. I'm just gonna continue to take my Bikram yoga classes, do my own personal work, and put out there the broad vision. I think it's very important to know what you clearly want in another person, write it down, and then also see if you are actually lining up with those qualities
With
that
them.
you're looking for.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I want to sit down and write, like, a list of 20 things that I want from a guy. Yeah, and if I'm not doing them myself, then I got work to do.
right? Yeah, when people are in alignment with themselves, then you will automatically attract somebody who is in alignment. So
Right.
it's kind of the nature of
So,
that.
yeah,
Does
just
that
to recap,
yeah,
what are, the values of the other person have to line up with yours. So you need to know what your values are. They can include questions like, do you drink or do drugs? I don't want someone like that. Do you care about your health? Do you have a job? Are you a hard worker? Another one is, what are you looking for? What's your relationship status? Are you looking for something serious? Are you looking for FWB? Are you poly or mono? Those kinds of things. Are you hetero? That's another one. You never know. Um, do you want kids? And do you have them? Are you single? If you are, how long have you been? Um, yeah,
do you
right?
have any interesting stories you'd like to share surrounding your singleness?
Yes. How long and then why have you been single for so long? Or not very long. What was another one? I think we're missing one.
So core values, but what was the other one? I don't know.
Well, we said a lot of good things in there.
We did. You know what? There's more than five things. The five things
Oh
is
yeah.
really just to sort of catch people's attention because there's going to be a lot of questions that you're going to ask, and you're not going to get five, you're not going to get all of your questions answered immediately. The idea is basically the whole message of this whole conversation, if I was to give it one, is cut the bullshit. Get to what you really
Right.
want to know about a person that's important to you so that you don't have to continue doing this dance that the whole online world seems to promote.
Seriously, the game. Play
The
the
five
game.
ways
Play
to
the
beat a
game.
man.
No, no playing game. No game. Don't have time for that shit. Well, thank you for this live chat. It
Thank
was so
you.
fun.
Awesome. Logan says very interesting and charming chat. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Can't wait to do our talk, Jessica. Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, we're going to do a talk on the masculine and the feminine. For those who don't know, there's a great book called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, which talks about the masculine and the feminine. So we'll be talking about that and a lot of other perspectives on the masculine and the feminine. So hopefully you can join us. I'm not sure when that conversation is exactly going to be because he's a truck driver. So we're trying to figure out when he can fit in, maybe on Sunday. So I don't know if you're working then, but we'll figure it out.
I look forward to our next chat.
Cool. Well, have a super awesome night, and maybe I'll see you at Bikram tomorrow.
Oh yeah, 6 a.m. I'll be there.
Everybody got to try Bikram class sooner or later.
Yep. Yep.
90 minutes of suffering. Well, it will. 90 minutes of suffering will feel like the most amazing transformation after you've completed it.
Yep. And in November, first time member is free. If you mention one of us, you get a free session.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I want to win that
So,
free month.
me too.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, hun. Bye.
Next.